Welcome to our today's program. Our topic for the day is Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Before we proceed, let's know about the objectives of today's lesson. Our objectives are to understand the perspective of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, to have an understanding of aims and objectives of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, to discuss about Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan as a framework and as a program, to know the implementation strategies and planning process of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, and to have an understanding of public-private partnership in Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Now, let's come to the introduction of this Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Free and compulsory education to all children up to the age 14 is a constitutional commitment in India. Also, through the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, all children of the age of 6 to 14 years have the right to free and compulsory education in a neighboring school till completion of elementary education. Universalization of elementary education, UEE, in India is viewed in terms of universal access, universal enrollment, universal retention and universal quality of education, all of which play a crucial role in achieving the goal of universalization of elementary education. Useful and relevant education signifies a quest for an education system that's not alienating and that draws on community solidarity. Its aim should be to allow children to learn and master their natural environment in a manner that allows fullest harnessing of their human potential, both spiritually and materially. This quest must also be a process of value-based learning that allows children an opportunity to work for each other's well-being rather than to pursuing mere selfish pursuits. Since independence in 1947, India has made significant progress in universalization of elementary education over a period of time. Number of schools across the country has increased manifold, and that's also evident from the percentage of habitations served by the primary and upper primary schools. Coverage of rural population and facilitation of primary and upper primary schooling got momentum since 2002-2003 under Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is an effort to universalize elementary education by community ownership of the school system. It is a response to the demand for quality basic education all over the country. SSA program is also an attempt to provide an opportunity for improving human capabilities to all children through provision of community-owned quality education in a mission mode. Now, let's come to mission statement. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is a Government of India's flagship program for achievement of universalization of elementary education in a time-bound manner as mandated by 86th Amendment to the Constitution of India, making free and compulsory education to the children of 6-14 years age group a fundamental right. SSA is implemented in partnership with state governments to cover the entire country and address the needs of 192 million children in 1.1 million habitations within a specific time frame. In addition to strengthening the existing school infrastructure, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan seeks to open new schools in the habitations which do not have schooling facilities. SSA seeks to provide quality education, including life skills. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan has a special focus on girls' education and children with special needs. In order to bridge the digital divide, SSA has a provision of computer education within itself. Infrastructure improvement and capacity building is an inbuilt feature of the program as a whole. Now, let's know about the basic features of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. What is Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan? A program with a clear time frame for universal elementary education. It is a response to the demand for quality basic education all over the country. It is an opportunity for promoting social justice through basic education, an effort at effectively involving the Panchayati Raj institutions, education committees, parents, tribal councils and other grassroots level structures in the management of elementary schools. It is an expression of political will for universal elementary education, a partnership between the central, state and local governments. It is an opportunity for states to develop their own vision of elementary education. Now, let's know what are the aims of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Main aim of this flagship program of India is to provide useful and relevant elementary education for all children in 6-14 years age group, and also to bridge social, regional and gender gaps with the active participation of the community in the management of schools. There is also another goal to supplement the efforts of various agencies involved in early childhood care and education, as the SSA realizes its importance and looks at 0-14 age as continuum. The aims were fixed to be fulfilled up to the year 2010, and most of the states have achieved the target, while some grey areas are still existent in some of the states. The objectives of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan: all children in school, education guarantee center, alternate school, back to school camp by 2003. All children complete 5 years of schooling by 2007. All children complete 8 years of elementary schooling by 2010. Focus on elementary education of satisfactory quality with emphasis on education for life. Bridge all gender and social category gaps at primary stage by 2007 and at elementary education level by 2010. Universal retention by 2010. These objectives are expressed nationally, though with the expectation that various states and districts achieve universalization in their own respective contexts and in their own time frame. 2010 was the outer time limit for such achievements. Now, let's come to the planning part of the program. Community-based planning process. The success of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan depends on the community-based planning process. The heterogeneity of local communities in many regions often poses problem of unanimity on proposed planning criteria. Therefore, it becomes more important to recognize a habitation, as most habitations have higher degree of community solidarity. In order to make SSA relevant to the contemporary needs and to make it result-oriented, emphasis has been laid on planning and appraisal at micro level. Therefore, micro-planning for this flagship program is emphasized from village level itself. Such planning is required to involve village community, NGOs, women's groups, and other social activists, and also the parents of children with special needs. Involvement of these people is to ensure quality delivery of UEE right from grassroots level up to the top. Through this participatory process, core planning teams are to be constituted so that a relevant planning and monitoring system is put in place. Let's know Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan as a framework and as a program. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan has two aspects. One, it provides a wide convergent framework for implementation of elementary education schemes. Two, it is a program with budget provisions for strengthening vital areas to achieve UEE. All investments in the elementary education sector from the state and the central plans reflect as part of the SSA framework, which merged into SSA program. After its launch as a program, it reflects resource provisions for UEE. strategies which are central to the SSA program. School education system that was prevalent prior to the launch of SSA had many weaknesses, which could not keep pace with the alarming growth in population and subsequent increase in illiteracy. Since the illiteracy is considered as one of the biggest impediments in the way of progress and overall development of the society, a shift in strategy of universalization of elementary education became a necessity for the government of India, and as such, broad strategies were put in force under SSA. These strategies are institutional reforms. State and central governments will undertake reforms in order to improve efficiency of the delivery system. The states will have to make objective assessment of their prevailing education system, including education, administration, achievement levels in schools, financial issues, decentralization and community ownership, review of State Education Act, status of education of girls and other disadvantaged groups, etc. Most of the states carried out several changes to improve the delivery system for elementary education under SSA. Number 2, sustainable financing. Prior to the launching of Shiksha Abhiyan, financing of elementary education was state subject. SSA is based on the premise that financing of elementary education interventions has to be sustainable, which calls for a long-term perspective on financial partnership between central and the state governments. This partnership ensures regular fund flow and a systematic financial backup to the UEE throughout the country. 3. Community ownership. It was observed that any scheme or the program of the government do not produce desired results for want of community support. SSA calls for community ownership of school-based interventions through effective decentralization, which can be augmented by involvement of women groups, VEC members and Panchayat Raj institutions. Next is institutional capacity building. Improvement in quality requires sustainable support system of resource persons and institutions. As such, SSA conceives major capacity building role for national, state and district level institutions like NEPA, NCERT, SCERT, DIET, etc. Improving mainstream educational administration. It calls for improvement in educational administration by institutional development, infusion of new approaches and by adoption of effective and efficient methods. Accountability. SSA envisages cooperation between teachers, parents and PRIs so as to make the delivery accountable to the community. A well-designed educational management information system to correlate school-level data with community-based information is an inbuilt feature of the SSA program. In addition to all these strategies, SSA lays emphasis on focus on special groups, thrust on quality and role of teachers so as to ensure time-bound achievements and quality of delivery in universalization of elementary education. Public-private partnership in SSA. Since a sizable number of private schools are providing elementary education to a chunk of population who charge fee as per their choice, and in some cases some schools charge relatively modest fees, SSA calls for a uniformity and approach in delivery in this direction. Efforts to develop a partnership would be made within the broad parameters of state policy in this regard. Even government training institutions can offer services for personal development of these schools if they like so. SSA assigns greatest importance to the preparatory activities as these have been conceived as a necessary condition for quality implementation of the program. Systematic mobilization of the community and systematic decentralized decision making are part of the preparatory activities. These steps are expected to help in micro-planning right from village level up to the state level, and then supervision of the activities. SSA calls for regular supervision of activities, and as such, CRCs, BRCs, DIETs have been developed effectively to carry out supervision of all activities of this program. In addition, supervision teams are constituted to visit clusters, villages and habitations periodically so as to ensure delivery at all levels. Then comes monitoring. Continuous monitoring of SSA is a very important feature of the program and is to be carried as per the following. Joint review by Government of India and the state government. Community-based monitoring with full transparency. Ensuring state-specific responsibilities to research and resource institutions for monitoring and evaluation. Mandatory implementation of various activities by VECs. Statement of expenditure to be made public by each school. Ensuring community ownership for preparation of district elementary education plans. Now let's come to the major central interventions and their integration with SSA. There have been several innovative schemes in the elementary education sector since the National Policy on Education was made operative in 1986. The schemes like Operation Blackboard, teacher education, non-formal education, Mahila Samakhya, nutritional support for primary education, and DPEP, etc. were already in place for accelerating the process of universalization of elementary education, and these schemes were integrated with SSA so as to ensure uniformity in their implementation at all levels. These strategies under SSA were expected to improve pace and assure quality delivery in UEE. Since the launch of this flagship program, a number of studies have been conducted to assess the outcome and achievements thereof. Some of the major findings are: UEE got momentum under SSA from the year 2002-2003 onwards, and a large number of primary and upper primary schools have been opened across the country. Total number of schools increased from 8,53,601 in the year 2002-2003 to 12,85,576 in the year 2008-2009, showing an increase of 4,31,975, about 50% increase from 2002-2003. The number increased up to 13,03,812 in the year 2009 and 2010. Share of girls in primary and upper primary classes under Shiksha Abhiyan has increased. The share of girl enrollment in primary classes was 48.38%, and in upper primary classes this share was 47.58%. These findings indicate that SSA has been effective in various areas in promotion of UEE with all its interventions: infrastructure, development and enrollment of girls and SC/ST also got a boost under SSA. Therefore, conclusion can be drawn that SSA has been instrumental in realizing the objectives for promoting UEE in the entire country. However, some of the states are still lagging behind for their own reasons. Owing to the achievements of SSA, Government of India felt a need to announce RMSA, Rashtriya Madhya Shiksha Abhiyan, for secondary and higher secondary education. also. And that's all for the day. Thanks.